Howdy POTA people, I'm Matt N3NWV, and today we're going to talk about the self-upload tool that's available for your POTA activation logs. Okay, here we are on everyone's favorite website, the POTA spotting page. If you click on your avatar in the top right, in the menu that drops down towards the bottom of the list, you'll see our new choice. It's called My Log Uploads. This will take you to a page where you can upload your own ADIF formatted file with your POTA activation QSOs. Do take note of this big orange message here in the middle of the page. Just because you are uploading your own log file into the system doesn't mean that the data is going to take effect instantaneously. We still have to wait for the back-end processes to catch up with all the new data. Quick tour of the page before we get started. Down here at the bottom is the history of your log uploads. This should contain all of your previous activations. They were migrated over from the old system. This is a searchable list, so you can start typing in a park number or a name or even a QSO date and get the logs that relate just to those filter criteria. It even updates the list in real time as you type and delete characters, so it's pretty spiffy. There's a drop-down arrow next to each entry in the list. This will show you the details for that log upload. More on that in a little bit. Note that you can download the ADI file or you can ask for help about this particular activation, but there is no delete button. Once you put a log in via this tool, it's in there. If something goes wrong, you're going to have to contact the help desk to sort it out. Back up to the top, let me show you the ADI file that I'm going to be working with for this example. This is an activation of K1387, Moraine State Park, and this is what I would call an ideal ADI file. It has every column that is useful to parks on the air and nothing we don't need. For every QSO, I have the 5 fields that we all know we need: the QSO date and time, the band, the mode, and the call sign of the station worked. I also have the SIG info column for the park number of any park-to-park stations that I worked. It's a good thing I have it too, because my very first QSO here was 2 operators who were at a twofer. So I'd have had some dupes in here if I didn't have that extra column. I also have the 3 columns that fully identify my station: the operator for my call sign, the station call sign, and my SIG info for my park number. So there are 2 ways I can get this log file into the upload tool. Method number 1 involves just dragging the ADI file from wherever it lives on my computer onto the uploader page. Do note that it is relatively important that you drop the file into the box where the files are supposed to go. If you drag the file onto the page but don't drop it in the box, what's going to happen is your browser is going to open up the ADI file. It won't be uploaded that way. You'll just be looking at a bunch of sort of ugly text. So make sure you drop it in the box. If you don't want to play hide and seek with the box, you can always just click in the box and you'll be presented with the file upload dialog. You can go and find the ADI file on your computer, select it, either double click or hit open. Any of these things will get the ADI file into the list. If you have a complete ADI file with the operator, station, my SIG info columns, and your file name conforms to the standard outlined in the activator's guide, then most of the boxes on the upload form will populate by themselves. The tool will be able to figure out what park you were in, who you are. If the park is in multiple states, it'll even pick that out of the file name if you've provided it. Everything should be good to go, assuming you did the prep work ahead of time. Check the boxes to agree to the terms and conditions and then hit the upload button. A little progress bar will show that the file is in fact uploading. And then it will tell you, hey, this page is going to refresh in 15 seconds. You won't see your new activation in the list until the page refreshes, at which point it'll either be in a verifying state, which will probably only last 1 or 2 updates, and then eventually it will go to processed. You can see here that the log I just uploaded contained 40 QSOs, but only 39 of them were accepted. If I hit the drop-down arrow, I can see the details of why that 1 QSO was rejected. Turns out it was a dupe. I had this person in the log twice. The uploader figured that out and only gave me credit for the correct number of QSOs. All right, let's take a look at what happens when we get a log file that's not quite so well formatted. In this case, I've got a file that doesn't have a name that conforms to the naming convention. It's just simply called Matt's log. It also doesn't have all of the columns that we like to see in a good ADI file. There's no operator column. There's no station call sign column, and there's no my SIG info column to identify which park I was activating from. We do have the SIG info, so park to park should be okay. even with multiples. But we're missing some identification information about ourselves. Let's see what happens when we try to upload this. You'll note that the tool did take the file, but it's already calling us out that we've got some errors we've got to fix before we can actually upload this to POTA. There are a bunch of blanks to fill in that it was not able to get from either the ADI contents or the file name. So I'm going to have to pick the call sign under which this log should be uploaded. This will be the list of the call signs that are valid in your POTA profile. I'm also going to have to put in the park designator. Now in this case, I'm at an entity that only exists in one state. So as soon as I put in the park number, it populates the state for me. But if this were a log for something like a trail that passes through multiple states, again, I didn't specify that in the file name. So I'm going to put in the park designator and I'm going to get prompted with a list. Please pick the state that you were in when you operated this trail or multi-state park or whatever it is. With all the blanks filled in, the error message will go away. You can check the boxes, hit the upload button, and it should all go the same from there. Now let's take a look at what happens when you get a log file that has a genuine error in it. This is the log we uploaded earlier successfully, but I have removed the banned column. There's no banned information for all of these QSOs that are in here. On the uploader page, I'll click on the box to bring up the file open dialog and select my no banned info ADI. You'll see that it was able to populate my call sign, the park number, and the state, even though they're not in the file name. The uploader will do its best to get what it can out of either the columns or the file name in the file. I'm going to check the boxes and hit the upload button. As usual, I get my progress bar, and once the upload is complete, an indication that the page will refresh and show my new activation here in 15 seconds or so. As expected, when the page refreshes, what we see is a failed validation of the log, failed with errors. I'm going to have to click on the drop-down arrow to figure out what my errors are. Of course, we know in this case, the error is there's no banned information, and that is a required field in the ADI. Lots of goodies in the new tool. You can upload multiple log files simultaneously via either the drag drop or the file open dialog methods. There's a little X that will clear out any log files you had selected for upload. And if you have a log file already selected and you select or drag another one on top of it, it will simply replace that file. So if you have dialog boxes to fill in, you only have to do it one time. We've tried to think of every possible outcome, but of course that's not really possible. So if you have any trouble, you have two options. The old process of emailing your logs to the regional coordinator still works. If you get a log that you just can't get to upload or you're just not comfortable with the process, feel free to continue to use the email K number from your call sign at Parks on the Air, at least for now. Also, don't be shy about hitting that request support button. If you're having a problem, odds are somebody else is having the same problem, and the POTA admin staff would love to know about it. Only thing left to do now is get out there and activate so that you've got a log to upload. 7-3, keep calm and POTA on.